Hi everyone, welcome to WolfTV. WolfTV!
Oh.
I'm here with Jason, Dominic and I'm John, and today we're going to be answering some of the questions in a roundtable session. So these are questions that come up commonly that we've been asked before, and we just thought we'd go through a few of them with you today.
Right, John, do you want to start? Dive into the bowl.
I'm going to dive in for our first question.
You can't look. You're supposed to just grab one. You can't be picky.
I get to pick. Okay, so we're going to start off with this one, which is, what's the difference between UX and UI design? Let's just break down though, UX, user experience, right? That's what it stands for. UI design, user interface design, okay?
Yeah, just to be
get
clear.
Really back to basics. So the UX design is the process of discovering user needs, aligning them with business goals, going through discovery periods, working with users. That's the main thing, isn't it? Users are at the centre of the user experience process.
Of course.
Yeah. Cool. So the UI design, that's the interface design of a product or an app or a website or whatever. So that's literally creating the designed interface that you
it's what makes it look nice. And there's a statistic which is like 97% of people don't trust a website anymore if it doesn't look up to scratch, because they're, in this day and age, we're so used to seeing like great websites. They don't have to just look good, they have to function well. And that's where the combination of both of them come together, and that's why you see people looking for jobs, in like a UX UI kind of thing.
I think UI as well is important about the brand implementation, so it looks like the company's website, actually it's owned by them, so that could be as simple things as fonts, colours, imagery, but also the accessibility of a website or a product. So how easy is it, not only to navigate around, but how people can actually use it, whether it's what device it's on or what even needs that they have as well. So UI encompasses a lot more, I suppose, like the visual aspects of what this is.
Which is a really integral role.
And there is a crossover between the two, right? So
of course,
UX designers work with UI designers. Sometimes you get a hybrid designer where perhaps there's
where they do a little bit of both. But UI is not in any way simple. You have to work with design systems and loads of other stuff, and it can become really complicated, as is user experience. There's so many facets to it.
Cool.
Anyway, I won't go on. Let's move on.
Choose a question.
Go on then. Let me get in here. Let's see what we've got. Ooh, how can product teams cut down meetings?
Oh, very good. How can product teams cut down meetings? Well,
A purpose to your meeting.
purpose.
A lot of times, and a conclusion or an outcome at the end of it. An actionable task is what we would call it. You don't want to have a meeting and then think, great, let's have another meeting in a little while about that meeting, because it's just an endless cycle.
Meeting wrapped in meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
some outcomes at the start and really get that defined. Okay guys, what are we looking to get out of this hour and a half, whatever it is together?
Yeah. I think there's a tendency, isn't there? Because a lot of meetings just end up completely unstructured, and there's no clear goal of what you're trying to achieve from that time that you're together. So you ultimately end up just chatting, and then you come to the end, you run out of time, and then you're like, okay, we need to arrange another meeting now. When actually there are so many good things that you can do and you can put into place to kind of sort of cap that and stop that from happening.
What's some tips for structuring a meeting?
I think capping, you mentioned time and capping and stuff like that. I think setting a timer and setting out the agenda and saying within this time we're going to cover this, this and this is what we're going to come out the other side with, and just being super, super strict with that as well. Yeah,
get some post-it notes out. Don't be afraid to, start working in a bit more of a collaborative way together. And then if you still can't make a decision, dot voting is a great way to help. And that literally is a case of just getting some dots or getting a pen, even just going up to the post-it note, colouring in the ones that you think are most, pertinent that you're looking to solve, and then you leave that meeting with a clearer idea of what you've got to do, and you can put some actionable steps into place to achieve those.
Giving the team 5 minutes, a load of post-it notes, one idea per post-it notes. It's crazy what you can kind of come out with when you're just given some time to focus rather than kind of worrying about what's happening in the meeting around you. Just
exactly.
A little bit of independent kind of thought in one meeting can really help.
Exactly, and I think coming there with an idea of what you want to get out of it, actionable tasks and accountability as well, making sure you don't have another meeting until the actions from the last meeting are done as well.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Right.
next.
Straight into the next.
Oh, my favourite. How can you come up with better ideas? That's interesting. So,
Well, you wrote the blog on this.
I wrote the blog on this.
We'll start with you.
Yeah, so something that I'm passionate about. So ideas or ideation, it can be a really tricky thing for a lot of people to come up with, particularly if you don't see yourself as kind of creatively minded. So there's certain periods where your brain is in what you call like a kind of incubation mode. So that is when your brain is most likely to come up with your best ideas or your newest ideas or those like eureka moments. On your own as an individual, those usually occur in places like in the shower or cooking or driving or any repetitive task where you potentially, aren't engaging your brain in the usual activities of the day that you normally do.
Yeah.
As a team, usually those come from coming away from your desk. So, in the workplace, coming away from your desk, go for a walk, do something, go exercise at lunchtime, whatever it is. As a team, things like the design sprint are a really good way to get people ideating because it takes them out of their usual setting and it gets people doing new things.
Get away from their own meeting rooms. They're using another space entirely that's completely different and just a bit fresher and new rather than the same old conference room they might be going to.
Same old is the enemy, that's it. Go and have a meeting on a boat, have a meeting, I don't know, on a plane, whatever. Whatever it takes, just get the ideation flowing to get people doing new things and also, thinking about new ways of coming up with ideas that, you're maybe not just all sat around firing them out, but we're going to use something like a sprint to, write down ideas, or we're going to, just do something different, basically.
And then the other thing is technology. Like remove technology because that can be such a sap on,
laptops, phones,
focus.
Get it all away.
Yeah, they're like the worst thing that you can, these days you can't go anywhere without someone being on their phone. Because you're constantly trying to keep your brain, or from being bored. You're like,
or even in a meeting as well. People just, check emails or whatever. Just
exactly,
no phones.
Don't take a laptop to a meeting.
No, just use. Don't. Not even for notes. Not allowed.
Yeah.
Just cut it out. Tune in. Tune out. Let your brain wander. And the best ideas will come. Basically.
Right.
There you go.
Next question.
Yeah. Let's fire away. Get stuck in.
What is a design sprint?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, you kind of just, we have sort of spoken a little bit about it there.
Pretty passionate about this, aren't we?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it's, ever since we, read this book, which is the...
Luckily just wandering
just
around
happened to be sat on the table, which is bizarre. Written by Google Ventures and by Jake Knapp at Google Ventures, should I say, more specifically. But it's such a great book, and I think that inspired a lot of people because it suddenly gave them a framework that they felt they perhaps didn't have to help them improve, and work through challenges and create prototypes and solutions all within like a 5-day
But
process.
then what is the design sprint?
Well,
Break it down.
Basically it's a 5-day process sort of framework for helping you to take your product right through to prototype stage and then testing it with real users. So you're defining the problem and the challenge and working all the way through, and you're doing it in a week, and you're saving yourself time, money. It's a collaborative
process that could
exercise.
take like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Like some companies, the way they're kind of rolling out and the way they're having to implement things. Where with this, it's like learn quickly, test quickly, and see what you can achieve. It's all about collaborating as well. You're looking at pulling people from different parts of your organisation, because these sort of things can be left with the design team or the dev team. Well, let's take it out. Let's ask what HR's input is into this, what comms input, what customer services input. And let's
So
get
you're bringing everyone from an organisation into
Not
it.
everyone.
Not everyone. So key people from an organisation to work together. So collaborative working framework.
Yeah.
if you like.
Cool.
I think
Are we?
that's
are we
all our
doing?
questions. Yeah.
Oh,
We're all done. Yeah. So
That brings us to the end then.
that brings us to the end for now. Thank you very much for watching, and for now, it's bye from us.
Take care. Thanks.
Yeah.
See you.